वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वेणुर्मधुरो रेणुर्मधुरः पाणिर्मधुरः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गीतं मधुरं पीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
तरणं मधुरं तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
कुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीथी मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपी मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
जले श्री परमात्मने नमः।
ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः।
श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता
श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता
अथाष्टादशोऽध्यायः।
अथाष्टादशोऽध्यायः।
अर्जुन उवाच
अर्जुन उवाच
सन्न्यासस्य महाबाहो
सन्न्यासस्य महाबाहो
तत्त्वमिच्छामि वेदितुम्।
तत्त्वमिच्छामि वेदितुम्।
त्यागस्य च ऋषिकेश
त्यागस्य च ऋषिकेश
पृथक् केशिनिषूदन।
पृथक् केशिनिषूदन।
श्रीभगवानुवाच
श्रीभगवानुवाच
काम्यानां कर्मणान्यासम्
काम्यानां कर्मणान्यासम्
सन्न्यासं कवयो विदुः।
सन्न्यासं कवयो विदुः।
सर्वकर्मफलत्यागम्
सर्वकर्मफलत्यागम्
प्राहुस्त्यागं विचक्षणाः।
प्राहुस्त्यागं विचक्षणाः।
त्याज्यं दोषवदित्येके
त्याज्यं दोषवदित्येके
कर्म प्राहुर्मनीषिणः।
कर्म प्राहुर्मनीषिणः।
यज्ञदानतपः कर्म
यज्ञदानतपः कर्म
न त्याज्यमिति चापरे।
न त्याज्यमिति चापरे।
निश्चयं शृणु मे तत्र
निश्चयं शृणु मे तत्र
त्यागे भरतसत्तम।
त्यागे भरतसत्तम।
त्यागो हि पुरुषव्याघ्र
त्यागो हि पुरुषव्याघ्र
त्रिविधः सम्प्रकीर्तितः।
त्रिविधः सम्प्रकीर्तितः।
यज्ञदानतपः कर्म
यज्ञदानतपः कर्म
न त्याज्यं कार्यमेव तत्।
न त्याज्यं कार्यमेव तत्।
यज्ञोदानं तपश्चैव
यज्ञोदानं तपश्चैव
पावनानि मनीषिणाम्।
पावनानि मनीषिणाम्।
एतान्यपि तु कर्माणि
एतान्यपि तु कर्माणि
सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च
सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च
कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ।
कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ।
निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्
निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्।
नियतस्य तु सन्न्यासः
नियतस्य तु सन्न्यासः
कर्मणो नोपपद्यते।
कर्मणो नोपपद्यते।
मोहात् तस्य परित्यागः
मोहात् तस्य परित्यागः
तामसः परिकीर्तितः।
तामसः परिकीर्तितः।
दुःखमित्येव यत्कर्म
दुःखमित्येव यत्कर्म
कायक्लेशभयात् त्यजेत्।
कायक्लेशभयात् त्यजेत्।
सकृत्वा राजसं त्यागन्
सकृत्वा राजसं त्यागन्
नैव त्यागफलं लभेत्।
नैव त्यागफलं लभेत्।
कार्यमित्येव यत्कर्म
कार्यमित्येव यत्कर्म
नियतं क्रियतेऽर्जुन
नियतं क्रियतेऽर्जुन
सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलं चैव
सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलं चैव
सत्यागः सात्विको मतः
सत्यागः सात्विको मतः
न द्वेष्ट्य कुशलं कर्म
न द्वेष्य कुशलं कर्म
कुशलेनानुषज्यते
कुशलेनानुषज्यते
त्यागी सत्त्वसमाविष्टो
त्यागी सत्त्वसमाविष्टो
मेधावी छिन्न संशयः
मेधावी छिन्न संशयः
न हि देहभृता शक्यन्
न हि देहभृता शक्यन्
त्यक्तुं कर्माण्यशेषतः
त्यक्तुं कर्माण्यशेषतः
यस्तु कर्मफलत्यागी
यस्तु कर्मफलत्यागी
सत्यागीत्यभिधीयते
सत्यागीत्यभिधीयते
अनिष्टमिष्टं मिश्रं च
अनिष्टमिष्टं मिश्रं च
त्रिविधं कर्मणः फलम्
त्रिविधं कर्मणः फलम्
भवत्यत्यागिनां प्रेत्य
भवत्यत्यागिनां प्रेत्य
न तु सन्न्यासिनां क्वचित्
न तु सन्न्यासिनां क्वचित्
पञ्चैतानि महाबाहो
पञ्चैतानि महाबाहो
कारणानि निबोध मे
कारणानि निबोध मे
साङ्ख्ये कृतान्ते प्रोक्तानि
साङ्ख्ये कृतान्ते प्रोक्तानि
सिद्धये सर्वकर्मणाम्
सिद्धये सर्वकर्मणाम्
अधिष्ठानं तथा कर्ता
अधिष्ठानं तथा कर्ता
करणै च पृथग्विधम्
करणै च पृथग्विधम्
विविधाश्च पृथक् चेष्टा
विविधाश्च पृथक् चेष्टा
दैवं चैवात्र पञ्चमम्
दैवं चैवात्र पञ्चमम्
शरीरवाङ्मनोभिर्यत्
शरीरवाङ्मनोभिर्यत्
कर्म प्रारभते नरः
कर्म प्रारभते नरः
न्याय्यं वा विपरीतं वा
न्यायं वा विपरीतं वा
पञ्चैते तस्य हेतवः
पञ्चैते तस्य हेतवः
श्री गुरुचरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी बरनौ रघुबर विमल जसु जोदायक फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरौ कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर मधुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिवे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतई सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माही जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज संहारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग पर ताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय।
Jai Shri Krishna. In Zoom meeting, if you want to turn off the notification of Zoom chats, then click on the chats and then click on these three dots, turn off notifications, click on that, click on the mute option, and now chats notification will not disturb you. Jai Shri Krishna.
सच्चिदानन्दं वासुदेवं व्रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा।
जय श्री कृष्णा। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। Seeking the blessings of Yogeshwara Krishna and our gurus, let me at the outset bow down to all my gurus, especially Param Pujya Swami Guru Govinda Dev Giriji Maharaj. A warm welcome to all the sadhaks who have joined us for interpretation first of 6 sessions of chapter 18, Moksha Sannyasi Yoga. We all are really blessed to be associated with Geeta Pariwar as we get to know the meanings of shlokas in weekly Vivechan Satra. Let's start our session with prayer, which is considered to be an integral part of our culture, and it's an expression of our devotion. And today, Sushmita Rani Dash Didi from Charmal Sambalpur, Odisha, is going to recite Prathana. Didi joined Geeta Pariwar in May 2026 and is already giving seva as tech and core trainer. Let's invoke the blessings of Lord Krishna. Sushmita Didi, please.
Jai Shri Krishna to all of you. Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsachanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnau Vande Jagadgurum Shri Krishnau Vande Jagadgurum. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you, Didi, for that melodious prayer. Now it's time for Deepa Prajwalan. Deepa Jyoti Parabrahma, Deepa Sarva Tamopaha, Deepena Sadhyate Sarvam, Sandhya Deepo Namostute. I prostrate to the dusk lamp, whose light is the knowledge principle, the Supreme Lord, which removes the darkness of ignorance and by which all can be achieved in life. Thus, this custom contains a wealth of intellectual and spiritual meaning. Today, Avantika Kulkarni Didi from Pune is doing the Deepa Prajwalan. Didi joined Geeta Pariwar in May 2021 and is giving seva as core trainer for L2 and Nyasu Kanthastikaran classes. Didi, please.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृताम् कलहंसकृतावासाम् वरदां शारदां नुमः वरदां शारदां नुमः.
Thank you, Didi, for a devotional and beautiful Deepa Prajwalan. All of you, please be informed that new L1 batch is starting from August 7th. Please share the link to join Geeta Pariwar to all your near and dear ones. I would like to inform all the participants that you may ask questions once the Vivechan is over. Please raise your hands only after the session is over. Now it's time for the most anticipated part of the session. Our speaker for the day is Vikas Vaidya ji from Pune. He has been reciting all 18 chapters of Geeta daily for the last 7 years. Bhaiya is a trainer for L1 to L4 and trainer's trainer for all levels. He is also involved in teaching and vivechan of Vishnu Sahasranam. Vikas ji also gives guidance to Geeta Vratis to prepare for Sringeri Peeth Geeta exam. Bhaiya himself has received first prize at the hands of Param Pujya Jagadguru Shankaracharya. Over to you, Vikas Bhaiya.
Jai Shri Krishna Maharaj Didi. Today the attendance seems to be very thin, but it's a part of life. Sometimes if the attendance is very high, should not get overjoyed. And if the attendance is thin, then should not get discouraged. Part of life. It's okay. So this today we are discussing about Adhyay 18, Moksha Sannyas Yoga. Yoga of liberation, moksha through renunciation, through sannyas. That is the name of the Adhyay. This is the concluding and most comprehensive Adhyay of entire Bhagavad Gita. In this Adhyay, Shri Krishna Bhagavan brings together all the teachings he has imparted to Arjuna and to all of us and provides a final unified vision of life. Duty, kartavya, knowledge, jnana, devotion, bhakti, and liberation, moksha. So this is a comprehensive knowledge that we get from this Adhyay. It serves as both a summary and culmination of the philosophical and spiritual insights discussed in earlier Adhyayas of Bhagavad Gita. So first concept is about renunciation, sannyas and tyag. Before we start with the Adhyay, let us understand what we are going to learn from this Adhyay. So the Adhyay begins with Arjuna asking Shri Krishna Bhagavan about the true meaning of sannyas and true meaning of tyag. Sannyas and tyag. दोनों में क्या फर्क है? What is the difference between sannyas and tyag? In both you believe give up something. So what is the difference then? Shri Krishna explains that sannyas refers to giving up actions driven by selfish desires, while tyag means renunciating the attachment to the fruits of action. Karma phala tyag is tyag. He emphasizes, Krishna Bhagavan, that complete abandonment of action is neither possible nor desirable. In third Adhyaya also we will learn, Nagashchit Shanamapi Jatadeshtatya Karma Krut. We cannot live without karma even for a second. Instead, one should perform their duties while remaining unattached to the outcomes. Shri Krishna further clarifies that renunciation, sannyas, should be guided by wisdom. Actions, karma, performed as duty, kartavya karma, without attachment or without ego, are considered pure and lead to spiritual growth. On the other hand, abandoning duties out of ignorance, ajnan, or fear, bhaya, is not true renunciation. Then God explains about 3 types of karma, 3 types of knowledge, and 3 types of kartas. Action, knowledge, and doers. Everyone has 3 types. Shri Krishna categorizes the karma, action, knowledge, dhyan, and doer karta into 3 types based on their 3 gunas. As we know from 14th Adhyaya also, Prakriti is Tribunatmak, Sattva, Rajatama. So God will explain this Sattva karma, Rajasi karma, Tamasi karma, similarly for knowledge and for the karta, the doer. Now, sattvic action performed selflessly, knowledge that sees unity in diversity, and doers who are disciplined and free from ego are sattvic kartas. Then rajasic actions driven by desire and by attachment, knowledge that sees multiplicity, and doers who are motivated by results and ego, these are all coming in the category of rajasic. And tamasic actions, karma performed in ignorance, knowledge that is narrow and distorted, and doers who are careless, lazy, and deluded, they come in the tamasic category. So this classification helps individuals like us to understand their own tendencies, whether my tendency is sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic, and encourages us to cultivate sattvic qualities for spiritual progress. Then God tells about the dharma, duty. Shri Krishna explains, emphasizes the importance of swadharma, one's own duty based on nature and the role of society. He explains that by performing one's own duty, kartavya karma, imperfectly is better than performing another's duty perfectly. Shriyan Sadharma Vina Paradharma Sunutitat Svanitam Karma Kurvanapnoti Kalpsha. That Shlok we will study in this Adhyay. This teaching highlights the importance of authenticity and inner alignment. Each individual, like us, has a unique nature shaped by three gunas. We are all governed by three gunas of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajas, Tamo. And their duties arise naturally from this nature of Prakriti. Either we are Sattvic, sometimes Rajasic, sometimes Tamasic. By performing their duties sincerely and without attachment, individuals can achieve spiritual perfection. That is what Krishna is going to explain. Then, another important concept that is described by Sri Krishna in this Adhyaya is 5 causes of karma, 5 causes of action. Sri Krishna explains that every action has 5 causes. Adhishthanam tatha karta karanencha pradagdam vividashta pradak cheshta daimai chaivatra panchava. This we will study. The 5 causes of action are the body, the field of action, that means kshetra, the doer, the individual self who does it, the senses, indriya, various efforts, and the divine factor, daiva, daimai chaivatra panchava. So this teaching helps us to remove our egoistic notion that I am alone the doer. God says, no, you're wrong. There are 5 factors which are responsible for any karma to get performed. Recognizing these facts fosters humility and reduces attachment to the results. Then Krishna Bhagavan explains buddhi, intellect, determination, dhruti, and sukha, happiness. All this again has 3 types. Sattva, Rajas, Tamo. Sri Krishna further classifies intellect, buddhi, determination, dhruti, and happiness, sukha, according to the 3 gunas of Prakriti. Sattvic intellect understands what is right and what is wrong clearly. Rajasic intellect is confused and driven by desires, kamana. While tamasic intellect, it misjudges everything and is clouded by ignorance. Similarly, sattvic dhruti, determination, leads to self-discipline and spiritual growth. While rajasic and tamasic dhruti, they lead to attachment and laziness. Similarly, happiness, sukha. Sattvic happiness begins like poison but ends like nectar. This we'll study in this Adhyaya, discipline leading to peace. Then Rajasic happiness begins like nectar but ends like poison. So this is the sense pleasure leading to suffering. That is what we'll study. And third is Tamasic happiness. Tamasic happiness arises from ignorance and delusion. Then God is going to explain about the 4 varnas of society. Brahman, Kshatriya, Visham, Shudra, and Parantapa, Karmani, Pravaktani, Svabhava, Pravairgunahi. This look will study in this Adhyaya. Shri Krishna explains the 4 varnas of society. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Not as rigid social classes, but as categorized based on guna and karma, natural qualities and tendencies. Each group has specific duties aligned with their inherent nature. Nowhere in Gita it says Janmani Paribhaktani. There is no relationship of Janma with your Varna. So this teaching emphasizes that all roles are important and that spiritual growth depends on performing one's duty sincerely, not on social status. Then we learn path to perfection through duty. Swesya Ganaveta. So Shri Krishna explains that by performing one's duty with devotion and without attachment, whether it is Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, anything, a person gradually purifies his mind and attains perfection. He encourages Arjuna to dedicate all actions to God, which transforms ordinary work into divine practice, spiritual practice. Through discipline, control of mind and senses, and detachment, of course, one becomes fit for realizing the supreme reality. Then God explains about the supreme state. Brahma realization. Shri Krishna describes the state of one who has attained realization. Such a person is free from ego and desires, calm and detached, equal-minded in all situations. Samatma Yoga. This is the foundation of Bhagavad Gītā, as you know from second Adhyaya also. So equal-minded, equipoised in all situations and devoted to God. This state leads to union with Parabrahma, the absolute reality, where one experiences eternal peace and liberation, moksha. Then the path of devotion, Bhakti Yoga, is also explained in this Adhyay. Shri Krishna emphasizes that devotion is one of the simplest and most powerful paths to moksha. By surrendering to God with love and faith, a person can transcend all limitations. So Bhakti Yoga is that important. He assures that even those who have committed mistakes can attain liberation if they sincerely take refuge in Him. This highlights the compassion and grace of the divine. While teaching this Adhyay in the jail, we always emphasize on this point of Bhagavad Gita, that once committed a crime, you are not a criminal all the time. You can change. Gita doesn't say that you are a criminal for the whole of your life. Till you take your last breath, you have a chance to change. Then the ultimate teaching is surrender to God. Sarvadharman paritejya mamekam sharanam praja ahantva sarvapapebhyo mokshayasyamasya. This wonderful slok we'll study in this Adhyay. Abandon all forms of dharma and surrender to me alone. What does it mean? We will discuss when this slok comes. I shall liberate you from all sins. Do not grieve, ma shusha. So this teaching represents the essence of entire Gita. It calls for complete surrender to God, trusting in divine guidance and divine grace. It does not mean abandoning responsibilities, but rather giving up the ego and attachment while performing duties as an offering to the God. Then at the end of a day, Arjuna gets transformed. After listening to Bhagavan Shri Krishna from second Adhyaya notes, Ashochanam Shuchat Sampradya Madhav Shivasha say, until Sarvadharman Paritijya Mamikam Sharanam, he gets the complete message of Gita. So after hearing Krishna's teachings, Shri Krishna's confusion is dispelled. He announces, Nashto moha siddhir labdha tat prasadan maya chita sitosmigda sandeha karishye vachanantava. So he regains his clarity, his confidence, and his determination. He declares that he will act according to Shri Krishna's guidance now. This transformation symbolizes the journey of every devotee, from doubt and confusion to clarity and purpose through spiritual wisdom. Then Sanjay concludes at the end of Adhyay. This Adhyay ends with Sanjay, the narrator of Bhagavad Gita, to Dhritarashtra, expressing his joy and wonder at witnessing divine dialogue between Shri Krishna Bhagavan and Arjuna. He concludes that wherever there is Shri Krishna, the embodiment of wisdom, and Arjuna, the dedicated devotee, seeker, there will always be righteousness, victory, and prosperity. This is the last look of this Adhyay and Gita also. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partho Dhanardara Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. So the conclusion of this Adhyay is, this Adhyay of Bhagavad Gita is a profound synthesis of all spiritual teachings presented in Bhagavad Gita, entire Bhagavad Gita. It emphasizes on 4 main points. Number 1, performing duty without attachment. Number 2, cultivating sattvic qualities. Number 3, understanding the nature of karma and the nature of self. And 4th, practicing devotion and surrender. Ultimately, this Adhyay teaches that moksha, liberation, is achieved not by escaping from the world, but by transforming one's attitude towards the karma that he is doing. By dedicating all actions to God, renouncing our ego, ahankar, and embracing devotion, bhakti, one can attain inner peace and eternal freedom. Means moksha. So this Adhyay serves as a timeless guide for leading a balanced and meaningful life, combining our action, karma, our knowledge, that means jnana, and our bhakti, devotion, into a harmonious path towards spiritual realization. With this small background of this Adhyay, we'll now start studying this slok by slok. First sloka, ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ अष्टादशोऽध्यायः। अर्जुन उवाच सन्न्यासस्य महाबाहो तत्त्वमिच्छामि वेदितुम् त्यागस्य ऋषिकेश पृथक् केशिनिषूदन। Arjuna Vacha, Arjuna said, what he said? Sannyasasya, of renunciation, of sannyas, that is giving up action, Mahabaho. Now here, Arjuna is calling Krishna Bhagavan as Mahabaho. In many places in Gita, Shri Krishna Bhagavan calls Arjuna as Mahabaho, person with mighty arms. Now here, he is returning that favor by calling Krishna also as Mahabaho. Tattvam is the truth, essence. Ichhami, I desire. Veditum is to know. Tyagas, of the renunciation of Tyag of fruits, return reward fruits. Rishikesh, Rishik means Indriya, senses, Ish is their Lord. So control of senses is Rishikesh, that means Lord Shri Krishna. Prathak means separately. Keshin Ishudana, the slayer of demon Kishi is Keshin Ishudana. In short, it means Arjuna is asking Shri Krishna Bhagavan to explain clearly the difference between sannyas, renunciation of karma, and tyag, renunciation of fruits of action. So in the opening shloka of this adhyaya, Arjuna raises a very important philosophical question that has been central throughout the Bhagavad Gita. Earlier adhyayas discussed karma, jnana, and bhakti, along with renunciation in various forms. However, Arjuna is still uncertain about two closely related but distinct ideas, sannyas and tyag. Arjuna addresses Krishna with significant names like Mahabaho, mighty arm, Rishikesha, controller of senses, and Keshinishudana. In one shloka, three adjectives have been used for Shri Krishna. These names reflect Arjuna's reverence and also symbolizes Shri Krishna's ability to remove the doubts and the inner enemies such as ignorance. The question itself shows that Arjuna's spiritual maturity is very high now. After listening to entire Bhagavad Gita, we should do the same in us. We are at the end of chapter. If our spirituality is still the same, then something is missing, isn't it? So he does not ask simply what is right and what is wrong, Arjuna. Instead, he seeks clarity about the subtle distinctions in spiritual practice. Sannyas is often understood as giving up samsaric karma, worldly actions, entirely, typically associated with monks or ascetics. Tyag, on the other hand, refers to performing karma but renouncing attachment to the results. Karma phala tyag is tyag. Now, Arjuna's confusion is natural. Because in earlier teachings, Sri Krishna Bhagavan sometimes praised sannyas and at other times he emphasized performing one's duty. So, ये क्या है भाई? Sometimes you prescribe sannyas and other times you say no, duty is important. So what should I understand? This could appear contradictory for Arjuna. Therefore, Arjuna asks Krishna Bhagavan to clearly explain whether one should abandon actions altogether and or continue acting but with detachment. So this shloka sets the stage for the entire adhyaya of Bhagavad Gita, the entire adhyaya of the 17th adhyaya Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, which aims to resolve this confusion of between the difference between sannyas and tyag. It reflects a crucial question for every human being. Should we withdraw from life to attain spirituality? Or can we achieve spiritual growth while actively participating in the samsaric karma, in the worldly activities? Shri Krishna's answer, which follows in the next few shlokas, clarifies that the true spirituality does not lie merely in abandoning action, but in purifying one's intention and attachment. Arjuna's inquiry, it highlights the importance of understanding not just external practices, but also the inner attitude. What is the inner attitude of sannyasi and apatyagi? In today's life, this question remains highly relevant. Many people think spirituality requires giving up our career, giving up family, or giving up responsibilities. Arjuna's question It represents this common doubt which people have even today. By asking this, he becomes a representative for all of us. So this shloka is not just a question, it is a doorway into one of the deepest teachings of Bhagavad Gita, the harmony between action and renunciation. So if we can do, the theme of this shloka is that understanding the difference between renouncing action and renouncing attachment, sannyas and tyag. There was one young software engineer. He wanted to leave his stressful corporate job. IT industry has a lot of stress, we all know. And he wanted to live a peaceful life. Before resigning, he visited his grandfather. The grandfather asked him, "Why do you want to quit your job?" "So that I don't have stress," he said. "I want to leave my job because I don't want to have any stress." The godfather smiled. If the stress comes from your mind, it will follow you to the mountains also. Even if you go to the mountain, the stressful mind will follow you there also. Don't run away from the work. Learn to work without carrying the burden of anxiety. The young man continued his job, but changed his attitude. He stopped seeking constant praise and promotions. Surprisingly, he became happier and even more productive. So Bhagavad Gita is not only for listening, it is to be brought in day-to-day life. Pujya Swami says, Gita padhe padhaye aur jivan mein laye. So every shloka of Gita, we have to do some contemplation, manan chintan, and try to bring it in our day-to-day life. So the lesson of this first shloka of 18th Adhyaya is Gita first asks us to understand whether we need to renounce work or merely our attachment to the results. Second shloka now. Śrī-Bhagavānuvaca. Let us see what God replies now. Kāmyānaṁ karunānyāsam sannyāsam kavayo viduhu sarvakanu-phalatyāgam prahustyāgam vichakṣaṇāha. Shri Krishna explains that sannyas means giving up the desire-driven action, sakam karma, while tyaga means renouncing the fruits of all actions, return reward expectation to be given up, that is tyaga. So Shri Krishna begins his response now by clearly defining the two terms, Arjuna has asked, sannyas and tyaga. Shri Krishna Bhagavan states that sannyas is the renunciation of karma, kamya karma. Kamya karma is sakam karma, where you expect something. So sannyas means to give up the sakam karma, actions performed with the selfish desire for specific results. These include actions done for some personal gain, or some pleasure, personal pleasure, or power, or for recognition. On the other hand, tyag is defined as renunciation of fruits of all actions. Keep doing karma, but don't expect any return reward. This means even while performing necessary duties, one should not be attached to the outcomes. I am serving my parents, I expect this. Don't do that. This distinction is subtle between sannyas and tyag, but extremely important as well. Sri Krishna does not say that all actions should be abandoned. Instead, he says that desire-driven action should be given up. Kamana is the main enemy of human beings. This has been described in many shlokas of Gita. So the same principle Krishna Bhagavan states here also, that desire-driven action should be given up, while necessary and righteous actions should still be performed, but without attachment to the results. The kavya means the wise people, and vichakshana, the same wise people, understand this difference. They recognize that it is not action itself that binds a person, puts him in the bondage, but the attachment and desire behind every action. So this teaching resolves one of the major confusion of our minds. Spirituality does not demand inactivity. Spirituality does not mean you sit tight, don't do anything, no samsaric karma. Rather, it demands purity of intention. Keep performing your karma, but with a good intention. Shri Krishna's explanation aligns with the broader message of Karma Yoga that we studied in second Adhyaya, partly third Adhyaya, fourth Adhyaya, partly fifth Adhyaya. A person should perform his duties as an offering to the God without selfish motives. Such action does not create bondage. So keep doing karma in such a way that your karma becomes a karma, that means does not put you under bondage. For example, consider a person working at a job. If he works only for salary, for status, or for recognition, it is kamya karma, sakam karma. It is held in one action. But if he performs his duty sincerely, without attachment to results, that I am doing my kartabya karma, it becomes karma yoga. That is embodying tyaga. So the karma remains same, but the intention behind karma decides whether it is a kamya karma or nishkam karma. Shri Krishna's teachings emphasizes that renouncing desire is more important than renouncing action. In practical terms, giving up all karma is neither possible nor desirable for most of us. Life itself requires action, whether physical, mental, or emotional. Therefore, true renunciation lies in changing one's inner attitude. The Sri Krishna redefines the renunciation, sannyas, not as escape from life, but as freedom from selfish desire. So this sannyas we can have even when we are living the family life. Don't have to escape from life, only we have to get freedom from our selfish desires. This approach makes spirituality accessible to everyone, not just yogis or monks, but also to householders like us, to professionals, or to the students as well. In a sense, this shloka teaches act without selfish desire and renounce attachment to the results. That is the true wisdom. A doctor had the option of earning much more in a private hospital, but continued spending every Sunday treating poor villagers free of charge. Someone asked him, why don't you stop this charity? It gives you nothing. He replied, money is not the only reward. This service purifies me. He had not renounced action. He was performing action. He renounced the selfish motivation. So giving up selfish desires while continuing noble duties is real tyag. So that doctor was a real tyagi. Continued with third shloka. त्याज्यं दोषवदित्तेके कर्म प्राहुर्मनीषिणः यज्ञदानतपः कर्म न त्याज्यमिति च परे. Some wise people say that all actions should be abandoned as faulty, while others say that acts like sacrifice, yajna, charity, dan, and austerity, tapa, should never be given up. So Shri Krishna Bhagavan is telling only what wise people are saying. He has not expressed his own opinion so far. So in this shloka, Shri Krishna represents two differing school of thoughts, two differing viewpoints among wise thinkers regarding sannyas. The first group believes that all actions are inherently flawed. सब कर्मों में दोष होता है. Because they can lead to attachment, ego, and bondage. Whether it is sakam karma, nishkam karma also, nishkam karma, what it will lead you to? We studied in sattvic karma, that gunatraya vibhaga yoga, that even sattvic karma puts you under bondage. So some people think, even if sattvic karma I do, if I go into bondage, what is it of doing karma? Let us give up all karma. न बजेगा न रहेगा बास न बजेगी बंसुरी. कर्म नहीं करते ना फिर. Therefore, they argue that action should be completely abandoned. This perspective often aligns with strict ascetic traditions that emphasize withdrawal from worldly life, but it's not possible for everybody. The second group, the second school of thought, however, holds a more balanced view. They argue that certain actions, specifically yajna, sacrifice, dan, charity, and tapa, austerity, should never be given up. These actions are considered purifying and essential for spiritual growth. Shri Krishna introduces these contrasting opinions to prepare Arjuna for a deeper understanding. He has not expressed his opinion. He is expressing the opinions of wise people, but who are in contradiction with each other. He does not immediately declare which view is correct out of these two. Instead, he acknowledges that even wise people have differing interpretations of sannyas and tyag. The key idea here is that not all actions are equal. Some actions elevate the mind and purify the heart, while others may create attachment and bondage. Action may remain same. Yajna refers to selfless act done for a higher purpose. That is yajna. Often symbolizing offering one's efforts to divine is yajna. Dana, charity, represents giving without expectation, reducing our selfishness. And tapa involves discipline and self-control. It strengthens our inner purity. So these actions help in reducing our ego and developing detachment, making them essential even for a spiritual devotee. In modern life, this teaching is very relevant. Some people believe that spirituality means quitting work, quitting responsibilities, or quitting social roles. Others believe in active engagement with ethical living. This shloka acknowledges both views, but prepares us to understand the correct path. A deeper message is that action itself is not a problem. Karma is not a problem. Attachment and ignorance are the problems. Actions like charity, dan, service, seva, and discipline actually help purifying our mind, isn't it? And should be continued. The Shri Krishna sets the stage for the final teaching. True renunciation lies not in giving up the karma action, but in performing the right action with the right attitude. That is sannyas. During retirement, a school principal announced he would never teach again. Okay, fine. A few months later, he noticed children in his village had no access to education. He started teaching them under a banyan tree every evening. He had retired from salary, but not from responsibility. So one may leave the profession, but should never abandon karma action that benefit the society. The principal, the teacher, was living this life. Next sloka. Nishyam shunme tatra tyagi vardhattama tyago hi purusha vyagra trivida samprakirtidaha. Shri Krishna asked Arjuna to hear his decision. Conclusive. सुनो मेरी बात सुनो अभी. What Vichakshana and Tyagi are Kavaya, my intelligent people are saying, two schools of thought. Now listen, my opinion, my verdict, which is of three kinds. Krishna says, Tyag is of three kinds. Trivida, Samprakirta. It has been said to be of three types. After presenting the differing views on the renunciation, sannyas in various previous shlokas that we have studied so far, Sri Krishna now prepares to give his final and authoritative teaching, final verdict, Supreme Court. He invites Arjuna to listen carefully, Shruno, to his Nishchaya, that means definite conclusion regarding Tyag. This indicates that what follows is not merely an opinion, but a clear philosophical resolution from God himself. Shri Krishna addresses Arjuna with respectful and inspiring titles like Bharata Sattama, best of Bharata lineage, and Purusha Vyagra, tiger among men. These names are not just praises for Arjuna, they are meant to encourage Arjuna to rise to his highest potential, which he has, and understand the subtle truth being explained. So the key teaching of this shloka is that renunciation, tyag, is of three types, Satprajatamo. This classification is based on three gunas of Prakriti. Shri Krishna has explained these gunas in earlier days also. Gunatarve Bhagayo, Shraddhatarve Bhagayo. Now he applies them to the concept of sannyas, tyag. This also can be of three types, Satprajatamo. This is an important shift in the discussion now. Until now, Arjuna's question was about whether to renounce action or not. If the karne ki chhod de. Shri Krishna now clarifies that the issue is not simply about renouncing or not renouncing. Chhod de ki nahi chhod de, ye sawal nahi hai. But about how one renounces. How do you do it? By introducing three types of tyag. Sri Krishna shows that renunciation itself can be right or wrong. It depends on the inner attitude, whether the attitude is sattvic or rajasic or tamasic, and understanding of the person. For example, a person may give up duties out of laziness or out of fear. This is not true renunciation. इसमें कोई त्याग नहीं है. Another may perform duties but without attachment. This is high renunciation. The Shri Krishna shifts the focus from external action to internal intention. This teaching is very practical. In real life, people often misunderstand renunciation. Some think it means escaping the responsibilities, while others think it is unnecessary. Shri Krishna clarifies that truth lies in understanding the quality of one's mindset. By categorizing Tyag of three types, Shri Krishna also connects his teachings with the broader philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, where everything, whether it is knowledge, jnana, karma, action, faith, shraddha, food, 17 Adhyaya discuss about sattvic, rajasic, tamasic food also, isn't it? And even happiness, sukham, is classified according to three gunas of Prakriti. So this shloka acts as a bridge. It connects the earlier discussion on sannyas and tyag in Gita with the upcoming explanation which is going to come now. So this is the bridge between those two. The previous shlokas of our previous adhyaya and the shlokas that are going to follow now. This shloka is the bridge between those two. It prepares Arjuna and all of us to understand that not all renunciation leads to liberation. सब प्रकार का संन्यास और सब प्रकार का त्याग आपको मोक्ष नहीं दिलाता है. Only the right kind of renunciation, guided by wisdom and guided by purity, it leads to spiritual growth. In today's time, this teaching can be applied to our daily life. Quitting a job out of frustration is not true renunciation. Avoiding responsibilities due to fear is nothing spiritual. Or performing duties sincerely without attachment, that is true tyag. The Shri Krishna is about to refine the concept of renunciation into a specific and psychological framework, helping Arjuna and all of us to move beyond confusion and get clarified. Three brothers inherited their father's business. One sold everything and traveled. The second managed it only for earning profits. The third continued running it honestly, treating employees like his family while donating a part of his profits. Years later, only the third found lasting peace. All three had renunciated. The renunciation is measured by your attitude, not by your appearance. Every giving up is not tyag or is not sannyas. What is your inner attitude? That is important. This will further explain in the next shlokas. Next shloka. Yajnanantapah karma natyajam karyamev tat yajnodhanantapashchaiva pavanani manishinam. Manishinam is again wise people. So Shri Krishna Bhagavan says actions, karma, like sacrifice, yajna, charity, dan, and austerity, tapa, should never be abandoned. So this is the final verdict now from Lord Shri Krishna. That yajna, dana, tapa should never be abandoned, as they are purifying for the wise. If they can purify the wise, then definitely they'll purify people, ordinary people like us. So why should ordinary people give up yajna, dana, tapa? God says, don't give up. In this shloka, Shri Krishna clearly resolves the part of earlier discussion by stating that certain actions must never be renounced. These include yajna, sacrifice, dan, charity, and tapa, austerity. Shri Krishna emphasizes that these are not optional. They are karyam eva, your kartavya karma they are. Yajna, tapa are your kartavya karma, duties that must be performed. How can you give up? This is a strong statement from Krishna, indicating that spiritual progress requires about active participation in such purifying actions, which you cannot give up, should not give up. Each of these has deep significance. Yajna, that is sacrifice. Yajna does not refer only to ritual offerings in the sacred fire, traditional yajna. It broadly means selfless action done for higher purpose. That is yajna. It includes serving the society. That is yajna. It includes performing duties as an offering to the god. That is yajna. It includes acting without selfish motives. That is yajna. Yajna teaches us to rise above personal gain and contribute for the greater good. That is yajna. Second thing what we should not give up is dana, charity. Dana is the action of giving without expectation. It's not necessarily only money, your time, your knowledge can also be dana. No? It reduces greed and attachment. The true charity is done with humility, namrata, given to the right person and given at the right time. It purifies the heart by cultivating generosity and compassion. You will remember that this teaching has come in 17th Adhyaya as well. Then tapa, austerity. Tapa refers to discipline and self-control. It includes control of speech, vani, control of mind, mana, and physical discipline, sharira. Sharira mano viryat karma prarabdha, and that shloka will study in this adhyaya. So tapa strengthens inner willpower and helps overcome desires and distractions. Shri Krishna calls these actions as pavanani. Yajna tapa are pavanani action. Pavanani means purifying actions. This is the key idea of this shloka. These actions cleanse the mind of impurities such as ego, attachment, and selfishness. That's why they are purifying. Even if someone is on spiritual path, he cannot abandon these practices. Instead, he should perform them with the right attitude. This shloka clarifies an important misunderstanding. Renunciation does not mean giving up good actions. Yadantapa are good actions. No? Renunciation does not mean you should give up your good actions. It means giving up the selfish motives and attachment. Shri Krishna is guiding Arjuna and all of us towards a balanced life. Not complete withdrawal from karma. Not blind attachment to karma. But discipline and selfless action. In today's time, these principles are highly relevant. Helping others is dan. Working with integrity is yajna. Practicing discipline is tapa. So yajna and tapa, we are performing even when we are living the day-to-day life. If anybody is doing job, helping others, he is doing dan. He is working with integrity for his company, it is yajna. And he is practicing discipline while performing his duty, he is doing tapa. These are essential for both personal as well as spiritual growth, isn't it? It helps you in getting material progress also, and spiritual, of course. So Krishna's teachings here ensure that spirituality does not become passive or escapist. Instead, it becomes active, ethical, and transformative. This shloka reinforces the idea that right action performed with right attitude is essential for purification of heart, mind, antakaran, and progress, whether it is material progress or spiritual progress. A busy businessman always found time for three things. One, helping someone every week. Two, daily prayer. Three, honest payment of taxes. People asked how he remained peaceful despite huge responsibilities of his big business that he is handling. He replied, these habits keep my mind clean. Three habits. Yajna tapa, helping someone every week. Dana, daily prayer, and honest payment of taxes. So yajna, dana, tapa keep our mind clean. When we perform this yajna, tapa in our day-to-day activities, God says, how can you give up this? Pavana Nimanishana, even Dhanilog gets purified out of it. So spiritual discipline and selfless service, this strengthen our character. Should never give up this. Further continuing the discussion, God says in 6th shloka, एतान्यपित कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलानिशो कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्. Now Shri Krishna declares that even these actions, yajna, dana, tapa, sacrifice, charity and austerity, should be performed without attachment. दान किया और एक्सपेक्ट किया मत करो, यज्ञ किया और एक्सपेक्ट किया डोंट डू इट, तप किया और एक्सपेक्ट किया डोंट डू इट. They should be performed without attachment and without desire for the results. So this shloka provides the final and most refined teaching on renunciation. Shri Krishna states that Nishchitam Matam Uttamam, definite and Sarvottam opinion of mine, that even essential actions like yajna, dana and tapa should be performed without attachment and without desire for the results. So why they should perform then? Only for purification of mind, purification of heart. There are shlokas in Gita to this effect in earlier adhyayas also. So this completes the teaching that began with Sri Krishna, Arjuna's question in the first shloka. Sannyasasya mahabaho tattam chaviditum. Sri Krishna emphasizes two key principles. Renouncement of attachment, that is Sangha Tyaga. Attachment means emotional dependence on actions or its outcome. When we are attached, we feel anxious about success or about failure. We identify ourselves with the either success or failure with the results. We experience stress and disappointment. By renouncing attachment itself, a person remains calm and balanced. Second is renouncing the fruits of action, phala tyaga. Not expecting specific results, not working only for reward, accepting the outcome with equanimity. Again, the principle of equanimity has come. This does not mean lack of efforts from our side. जो होगा तो कुछ भी आएगा तो मिलेगा तो ठीक है, नहीं मिलेगा तो भी ठीक है. Not like that. It does not mean lack of our efforts. Instead, it means giving your best effort while remaining detached from the result. This is the skill of living life. Do your best, but don't depend on the outcome. Sri Krishna's teaching here is the essence of Karma Yoga. Perform your duty, do it sincerely, but do not be attached to the outcome of your karma. This approach, it will lead us to our inner freedom. So why this is important? Because attachment creates bondage. We learned that much in Gita. Not the karma, but the attachment to karma and karma phala, it creates bondage. When we act with desire and expectations, we become tied to the cycle of success and failure. Success I we get elated, failure I we go to depression, pleasure and pain. God has been teaching in Gita, nirdvandva. You become free from these dvandvas of life. This leads to mental disturbance, every dvandva. But when we act without attachment to karma phala, the mind becomes shant, peaceful. The ego reduces. And the action becomes pure, pavanani manishadam. Even spiritual practices can become a source of ego if done with pride or expectation. Somebody teaching Bhagavad Gita with a pride in his mind, I know Gita very well. Nobody can explain Gita like me. This is counterproductive. On one way you are learning Gita, on second, on the other side, you are not following Gita principles. And you are expecting praise from people. That is also not in line with Gita's teachings. Therefore, Shri Krishna advises detachment even in good actions. आप यज्ञ दान तप कर रहे हैं, all are good actions, but don't keep any expectations even from your good actions. This shloka beautifully balances the teachings. Do not abandon the karma, but do not be attached to the action. In modern life, this teaching is extremely powerful. Work sincerely, but do not stress about the results. Help others. help others, but do not expect recognition that मेरे को बहुत मदद किया इन लोगों ने. Practice discipline, but don't become egoistic. I am very sattvic. Don't become egoistic. This mindset, it leads to peace of mind, better performance bias, and spiritual growth as well. Shri Krishna calls this his supreme conclusion, Matamuttama, showing that this is the highest understanding of renunciation. Krishna's opinion is the best, obviously. Who can surpass Krishna's bestness, his opinion? Thus, the final message of this shloka is true renunciation is not giving up the karma action, but giving up attachment and expectation while performing the karma. A mother cooks every day. Nobody thanks her regularly. Do we thank our wife or our mother for cooking for us every day? We don't do it, take it for granted, no? She never stops cooking because her motivation is love, not appreciation. Today people have not appreciated me, so tomorrow I will not cook. Does she ever say this? Never. She performs her duty without expecting applause. So the duty performed without expectation, it becomes worship. Work becomes worship like this. When you are performing your duty without expecting. And housewives are the best example of this. Performing karma without praise. Next shloka. नियतस्य संन्यासः कर्मणो नोपपद्यते मोहात्तस्य परित्यागस्तामसः परिकीर्तितः. Renouncing one's prescribed duties is not proper. If done out of delusion, such renunciation is considered tamasic. Now God is explaining about the three types of tyaga. Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. Now he starts with Tamasic first. In this shloka, Shri Krishna begins explaining three types of tyaga, renunciation, starting with Tamasic tyaga, which arises from ignorance. Ignorance is tamas. Tamas means andhakar. So Shri Krishna clearly states that renouncing niyata karma, that means prescribed duty, is not correct. These duties include responsibilities given by one's role in life. If you are a son, your duty is to serve your parents. You can never give it up. If you give up that, then that is tamasic tyaga. Such as duties towards family, towards society, towards profession, and towards dharma, towards country. If you give up any of these, that is tamasic tyaga. Why does someone abandon these duties? Shri Krishna says it happens due to moha, delusion or bhram. Delusion means lack of proper understanding. A person under delusion may think all actions are binding, so I should stop acting. Spirituality means avoiding responsibilities, or I will attain peace by escaping from these duties. Krishna says, you are wrong. He clarifies that such thinking is incorrect and harmful for your spiritual as well material growth. This type of renunciation is called tamasic because it is rooted in ignorance, ajnan, confusion, bhram, and lack of discrimination. A tamasic person does not understand the purpose of action itself. Instead of purifying the mind through duty, kartavya karma, he chooses the easier path of avoiding the duty itself. For example, a person avoiding work due to laziness, saying that I am doing tyaga. This is tamasic tyaga, God says. Or someone neglecting family responsibilities in the name of spirituality. मैं गीता पढ़ रहा हूँ तो मैं घर का काम नहीं करूंगा. God says, oh, you are doing tamasic tyag. A student refusing to study, claiming detachment. This is also nonsense. These are not actions of wisdom. They are actions of ignorance. So Shri Krishna's teaching here is very practical. He emphasizes that duty is essential for growth. By performing duties, the mind becomes disciplined, the ego is reduced, and one learns responsibility and balance. Avoiding duties, on the other hand, it will lead you to stagnation in life, weakness, and increased confusion of mind. Tamasic renunciation may appear spiritual on the surface, but it actually hinders our spiritual growth. Shri Krishna is correcting a common misunderstanding. Spirituality is not escape. It is engagement with awareness. That is spirituality. Live in the family, but live family life with awareness, with detachment. Even in modern life, this teaching is highly relevant for us. People sometimes try to avoid challenges by labeling them as unnecessary or burdensome. They are saying this out of laziness or out of ignorance, but they label it as sannyas or tyag. But growth often comes from fulfilling responsibilities, not running away from responsibilities, not avoiding them. So this shloka strongly establishes that one must not abandon the rightful duties. Renunciation should not come from ignorance. The Sri Krishna rejects the idea that giving up all actions is spiritual. Instead, he prepares the ground for understanding higher forms of renunciation. What is sattvic and what is rajasic? All this was tamasic, what we discussed. Here, a person called Rohan, he worked in another city while his aging parents lived in his hometown. It happens, no? Son is working in Mumbai or in Pune or Bangalore, and parents are living in village somewhere. This happens. As they become older, they needed regular medical care and emotional support. Instead of helping them, Rohan told his friends, I want to focus on my spiritual growth. I am attending pravachan here. Family responsibilities only distract me from meditation. So I will not look after my parents. They manage on their own in their village. I am engaged in spirituality. He stopped visiting his parents and spent weekends attending spiritual tidbits, spiritual discourses, saying that he is adhyatmic now. Months later, he learned that his parents had struggled enough through illness without anyone to care for them. A wise monk gently told him, meditation that helps you neglect your duty is not spirituality. छोड़ दो ये सब. Serving your parents with love is itself a worship. Rohan realized that he had misunderstood renunciation. ये त्याग ये संन्यास नहीं था. He returned home and cared for his parents wholeheartedly and discovered that serving them brought him greater inner peace than escaping from the responsibility. That is what Sri Krishna is telling us in this shloka. So running away from rightful duties in the name of spirituality is tamasic tyag, tamasic renunciation. A college student, he failed in an exam. Instead of studying, he declared, education is meaningless. फालतू है आज की पढ़ाई. अरे, just because you failed in the exam, you are saying this. Years later, he regretted abandoning his studies because of temporary disappointment. So escaping responsibility because of confusion is not renunciation. God labels it as tamasic tyag. Now what is rajasic tyag? Next shloka. Dukkhamityeva yat karma kaya klesha bhayat tyajet sakritva rajasantyagan naivatyaga phalallabhet. If a person gives up actions because it is difficult or painful, kaya klesha bhayat, due to fear of bodily discomfort, out of fear of discomfort, such renunciation is rajasic and does not bring true benefits. So in this shloka, Shri Krishna Bhagavan explains the second type of renunciation, tyag, rajasic tyag, which arises from rajas, that is passion, restlessness, and desire. These are the three hallmarks of rajasic guna, isn't it? So here a person does not abandon duty due to ignorance. He knows he is not an ignorant person, but due to fear of or discomfort or inconvenience. He thinks this task is too difficult. It causes stress. It causes pain. I don't want to struggle. So they give up the action. Not because it is wrong. They know this is the right or this is wrong. But because it is unpleasant for them. Kaya Klesha Bhayatyajit. So Shri Krishna called this Rajasic because it is driven by attachment to comfort. खाली बैठे रहना ज्यादा अच्छा है, कौन भागदौड़ करेगा? He understands he is not doing the right thing, but he does it. Why? Attachment to comfort or desire to avoid hardship. While performing karma, you have to face hardship sometimes. Or third thing, emotional instability. Unlike tamasic tyag, where there is ignorance, here there is some awareness, but the person lacks courage and steadiness. Shri Krishna makes an important point in this shloka. Such renunciation does not give the true benefit of tyag. You have given up something, but you are not going to get benefited because of this tyag. Why? Because true renunciation requires inner strength, which you don't have. It requires clarity, which you don't have, and detachment. In the Rajasic tyag, the person is still attached to comfort and ease. So where is the tyag then? He is not free from desire, but he is simply choosing a different desire of comfort over duty. He prefers comfort over duty. So is this a tyag? He has sacrificed duty in favor of comfort. Can you call it tyag? God says this is Rajasic. For example, avoiding a challenging job because it is stressful. Giving up responsibility because it requires efforts. Or not helping others because it is inconvenient. These are all Rajasic tyag. These actions may seem practical, but spiritually they reflect attachment and weakness of mind. Shri Krishna teaches that difficulty is not a valid reason for abandoning your duty. In fact, challenges often help us grow better and faster. They build our resilience, they strengthen our willpower, and they purify our mind. So challenges are good for us to build up our own character. By avoiding discomfort, a person misses the opportunity for growth. So Rajasic renunciation is common in everyday life today, isn't it? Many people start something with enthusiasm, but give up when it becomes a little difficult for them. This lack of perseverance prevents them from achieving both worldly pleasure or worldly success and spiritual success. इधर का भी नहीं उधर का भी नहीं, दुबई का कुत्ता न घर का न घाट का. Krishna's teachings here encourages all of us steadiness in our actions, courage to face challenges in life, detachment from comfort. He reminds us that true renunciation is not about choosing the easy path, but about choosing the right path. Not easy path, but the right path. Thus, this shloka refines the concept further. Not only should one avoid ignorance, tamasic tyag, but one should also overcome fear and attachment, which is rajasic tyag. The key message of this shloka is renouncing action due to fear of discomfort is rajasic, shariravammano viryat, and that karya kaya klesha bhayatyajit, and does not lead to true spiritual benefit. Every Sunday, Meera, there was a lady called Meera, she volunteered at a free community library, teaching underprivileged children. Initially, she enjoyed it, but after a few months, she found it exhausting. Her weekends became very busy, and she wanted more leisure time. She thought, this work is tiring. Someone else can do it. I don't do it now. She stopped volunteering. Not because the work was wrong. She knew this was a good work, right work, but because it demanded effort and sacrifice. So what she did was rajasic tyag. Years later, she met one of the children who thanked her for inspiring him to stay in school. She realized that she had given up a noble duty merely because it required hard work. She resumed teaching, this time understanding that meaningful service often requires personal comfort to be sacrificed. Not the work to be sacrificed, but the personal comfort to be sacrificed. So abandoning good work because it is difficult is a rajasic renunciation. We say marathon. A marathon runner, he quit training after 1 week because of muscle pain. His friend continued despite discomfort and completed the marathon. Temporary hardship separated success from failure. So renouncing efforts due to inconvenience brings no spiritual merit. It is a Rajasic Tyag. Now what is Sattvic Tyag? Next sloka. कार्यमित्येव यत्कर्म नियतं क्रियते अर्जुन संगं त्यक्त्वा फलं चैव सत्यागः सात्विको मतः. When a person performs his prescribed duties simply because it is right, karna hai, this is the right kartavya karma for me, so I am doing it. Giving up attachment and desire for results, such renunciation, God says, is sattvic tyag, pure tyag. So in this sloka, Shri Krishna Bhagavan describes the highest form of tyag, renunciation, that is sattvic tyag, which is rooted in purity, in clarity, and in wisdom. A person practicing sattvic tyag, he performs their niyata karma, kartavya karma, prescribed duty, with the understanding that this is my duty. Kartavya iti iva. This is my duty, I have to do it. I don't need instructions from anybody or advice from anybody. I have to do it. It is my kartavya karma. There is a question of avoiding it. Serving my parents is my kartavya karma. How can I avoid it? It must be done regardless of personal likes or dislikes. Old age people become a little erratic. My parents are erratic, so I will not serve them. This is not correct. Regardless of personal likes or dislikes, you have to perform your kartavya karma. That is sattvic. At the same time, they say they give up the attachment, sangha tyaga, and renounce the fruits of action, phala tyaga. This is the ideal form of karma yoga. Unlike tamasic and rajasic tyaga, the tamasic person avoids duty out of ignorance. Rajasic person avoids duty due to discomfort. Kaya klesha bhaya tejet. Sattvic person performs duty with clarity and detachment. This is the balance of Krishna. This is the balance Krishna has been guiding towards since the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, since second chapter. A sattvic person acts without ego. He does not seek reward or recognition for his karma. He remains calm in success and failure. His motivation is not personal gain, but following the dharma, the righteousness. This is sattvic tyag. For example, a teacher educating students sincerely without concern for praise, sattvic tyag. A doctor treating patients selflessly, sattvic tyag. A person fulfilling family responsibilities with love without expectation is sattvic tyag. Such actions purify the mind and lead to inner peace. So you should not give up this. Shri Krishna considers this true tyag because it combines karma with tyag and with jnana. So the karma performed with tyag and jnana is the true karma, is the true sattvic karma. So this approach resolves the confusion Arjuna had in the beginning of this adhyaya, that one does not need to abandon karma, one needs to purify the intention. Sattvic tyag, it leads us to freedom from stress, clarity of mind, and spiritual growth. It transforms ordinary action into spiritual practice. Serving parents, ordinary practice, but it can become divine. It can open a gate of moksha for you if you do it with right attitude. It can become a spiritual practice. In modern life, this teaching is extremely powerful. Work with sincerity for not reward. Do your duty not for approval. Stay balanced in all outcomes. This mindset leads to both success and peace of mind. Sri Krishna presents this as the ideal path because it is practical, balanced, and transformative. Thus, the final message of this shloka is perform your duty with detachment and without desire for results. This is the highest form of sattvic tyag. This is the highest form of tyag that is called sattvic tyag. every 3 months, an office employee named Anil, he quietly donated blood at a local hospital. He never posted photographs on social media, which is the practice these days. You do any small bit of thing and you put on social media. He did not do that. He never told his colleagues also, and never expected appreciation from anyone. When friends asked why he did this, he simply replied, "Someone may get another chance to live. That is enough for me. By doing blood donation, if someone is getting life because of my act, that is enough for me. I don't need any more recognition on social media or from many friends or relatives." Years later, Anil himself required emergency surgery. During recovery, he reflected that whether or not anyone remembered his donations did not matter. मैंने दुनिया को blood donation किया है, आज मुझे मिलना ही चाहिए. He did not expect that also. He had acted because it was the right thing to do for him when he did blood donation. His peace came not from recognition, but from fulfilling his duty with a pure heart without expectation. So, doing good simply because it is right, without expecting praise or reward, is sattvic renunciation. During severe floods, an electricity engineer, he worked continuously for 3 days restoring the power. No media covered his efforts. When thanked, he simply said, "This is my duty." He neither expected rewards nor recognition. So Sattvic Tyag is doing the right thing because it is right to do. Whether somebody appreciates or not is not the point at all. Next shloka. Nadveshta kushalam karma kushale nanushajyate tyagi sattva samavishto medhavi chinna samshayaha. The true tyagi, renunciation, he neither hates unpleasant work nor gets attached to pleasant work. Akushalam karma is unpleasant, unfavorable karma, and kushale is in pleasant or favorable karma. Such a person is wise, filled with purity, and free from doubt. Chinna samshaya. So this shloka, Śrīmad Bhagavan describes the qualities of a true tyagi, true renunciation, who practices sattvic tyag. Explained in earlier shloka what we have discussed. The key idea here is the balance of mind. A true tyagi, he does not hate difficult or unpleasant task. Akushala karma, he does not hate. Does not become attached to easy or pleasant work. Kushala karma, he does not get attached. Whatever is karma, I have to do it. It is my kartavya karma. Kushal or akushal, favorable or unfavorable, pleasant or unpleasant, is not a topic of discussion at all. In ordinary life, people are driven by likes and dislikes. We avoid this because it is difficult. We chase this because it is comfortable for us. Krishna teaches us that such behavior creates bondage and restlessness. You are opting for easy life, comfortable life, then face the bondage. What do you want? Comfort in this life, or you want bondage-free karma? A true tyagi rises above these tendencies. When a person hates certain actions, it usually comes from ego. मैं कैसे कर सकता हूँ? Fear, can I do it? Will I be successful? Or laziness, छोड़ो यार बाद में करेंगे. Laziness. For example, avoiding responsibilities because they are unpleasant. Rejecting tasks that challenge one's comfort. A sattvic renunciator, he does not react with hatred. Instead, he accepts duties calmly and perform them with understanding. And then freedom from attachment, asakti. Similarly, attachment to pleasant work leads to dependency on comfort, desire for reward, and ego satisfaction. God says that is also not correct. So don't fall in love with the kushal karma and don't be in the hatred of akushal karma. A true tyagi does not cling to enjoyable task. He remains detached even when the work is favorable, and he does not remain detached from the unpleasant work. He performs that also with equanimity. This does not mean he lacks interest or enthusiasm. Rather, his inner peace does not depend on the nature of work. It is search karma, it is kartavya karma that he has to do. Whether it is kushal karma or akushal karma, he says, this is not important for me at all. This is my kartavya karma, I have to do it. That's all, finish, full stop. So this shloka prepares and presents a psychological transformation from emotional reaction to calm acceptance. Whether it's kushal or akushal karma. From attachment to detachment. And from confusion to clarity. In modern life, this teaching is extremely valuable. Work may not always be enjoyable. Every work that we do in the office or in any organization for that matter, every work is not enjoyable. Sometimes it is boring, sometimes it is stressful, but it must be done. It must be done. In Geeta Pariwar, there are many people engaged in calling service. They have to make calls only. Some people find it boring. So they may think this is akushal karma. But this is also service, na? Only teaching Gita is service or what? Calling is also service. So don't say that I will do only kushal karma and I will hate akushal karma. Success may come, but we should never become dependent on it. Failure may occur, but we should not be disturbed by that failure. A balanced mind, it leads to better performance and deeper peace of mind. The Sri Krishna defines a true tyagi not by what they give up externally, but by their inner attitude. So the key message of this shloka is a true tyagi remains balanced, neither hating difficult work nor clinging to pleasant work, and thereby becomes wise and free from doubt. Chimna samshaya. A judge, he delivered judgments fairly. Sometimes his decisions pleased the people, sometimes they angered the people. He was doing his duty of giving judgment. Whether it pleases somebody or makes somebody angry, he says, I am not bothered. He never allowed praise or criticism to influence his judgments. He remained committed to justice. So the wise remain balanced and in success and in criticism both. That is the teaching of this shloka. Next shloka. न हि देवृता शक्यं त्यक्तं कर्मण्यशेषतः यस्त कर्मफलत्यागी सत्यागी इत्यभिधीयते. It is not possible for an embodied person to completely give up the action. This God has said second time now. In third ayat also he has said, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi javato titthatta karma krit. You cannot stay alive without performing karma even for a second. But one who renounces the fruits of action is truly called the renouncer. So in this shloka, Sri Krishna Bhagavan gives a very practical and realistic teaching about tyag, sannyas, renunciation. He clearly states that for a person living in a body, dehabhrut means body, jiska body hai wo dehabhrut, it is impossible to completely give up all actions. For maintaining body, you will have to take action. For living alive, you will have to do breathing. Breathing also action. No? We learn in fifth adhyaya. नैव किंचित करोमीति युक्तो मन्ये तत्वेत् पश्यन् शृण्वन् स्पृशन् जिघ्रन् नश्नन् गच्छन् पापयशन् प्रलपन् विसृजन् गृह्णन् मिशन् अपि. All these are actions only. Closing and opening of eyelids is also action. How can you live without performing this action? So one cannot live without performing action. Why? Because life itself involves actions. Breathing is action. Thinking is action. Speaking is action. Working is of course action. Even maintaining the body requires action. Therefore, total inaction is neither possible nor desirable. This statement corrects the major misconception. Renunciation does not mean stopping of all actions. Shri Krishna defines the true meaning of tyag. He says, karma phala tyagi. Sat tyagi vidiyate. He is called tyagi. Who is renounced the karma phala, not the karma. One who renounces the fruits of action, he is the true tyagi. This is a powerful and central teaching of Bhagavad Gita. It means continue performing karma, action, fulfill your duties, but do not be attached to the results of your duties. Why this is important in life? Because attachment to results, it creates anxiety. What will happen if I fail? Anxiety. Or pride. I am successful. It is me who has done this. Or fear. I may lose. People may call me bad names. Fear. By renouncing the fruits of action, the mind becomes peaceful. The actions become pure. And one remains unaffected by success or by failure. So Shri Krishna's teachings here is extremely practical for everyday life for all of us. Consider a person working. He cannot stop working. He is going to the company. Can he stop working? But he can change the attitude. Instead of working only for reward, he can work sincerely, accept outcomes calmly, and stay detached from the results. This transforms ordinary work into spiritual practice. As I said, God gives us opportunities in abundance every day to perform this Nishkam karma. With our own hands and with ignorance, we spoil all those opportunities and keep creating bondages for us day in and day out for the whole of our life. God says, I have given you opportunities to perform Nishkam karma, do Satvik Tyag. Why do you do Tamasic or Rajasic Tyag and get involved in bondage again and again? So this shloka highlights one key principle. Inner renunciation is more important than the outer renunciation. A person may outward give up everything, but still be attached internally. Such renunciation is not true tyag. On the other hand, a person may live in the world. A good family life is living. He performs his duties and yet remain internally detached than a person living in family with his wife, with his children, with his parents is a true tyagi, God says. Not the one who is putting Bhagwa Sannyas Vastra and going to Himalayas, but not detached internally. He is not a sannyasi. Shri Krishna's teaching it bridges the gap between spiritual life and practical life. Practical life can also be spiritual life, and spiritual life may be life of without sannyas. It shows that one does not need to withdraw from the world to attain liberation, to attain moksha. While performing practical life, you can attain moksha. If you bring this principle of spirituality in your day-to-day life. So one needs to purify the intention of karma that he does in his day-to-day practical life. He removes the attachment and perform actions with awareness. So this shloka is one of the most important shlokas in understanding karma yoga. It reinforces that action is inevitable, can't avoid. Attachment is optional. Whether to get attached to karma phala, God says that is up to you. You cannot avoid action, is a matter of fact. So there is no choice. Choice is only whether you remain attached to karma phala or not. If you remain attached to karma phala, face bondage. Otherwise, you become a karma yogi. Choice is yours. A man, he decided that I shall do absolutely nothing today. आज मैं कुछ नहीं करूंगा. He stayed in the bed whole day. Yet he breathed, he thought, he drank water, answered the phone call on mobile, and ate the meals also. He said, I will not do anything today. He did all this, no? So can you avoid karma? every inaction involves many actions. If you remain inactive, that inactiveness itself will involve a lot of actions. So life itself is an action. We can renounce attachment, not the action. The key message of this shloka is true renunciation is not giving up action, but giving up the attachment to the results of action. This message has been repeated by Bhagavan Shri Krishna in Gita several times in Gita. He hammers the principle so many times in Gita that it gets totally embossed on our mind. We should never forget this teaching of Gita. Next. अनिष्टमिष्टं मिश्रं च त्रिविधः कर्मणः फलं भवत्यत्यागिनं प्रीत्य न तु सन्न्यासिनं क्वचित्. We'll close it little carefully now, quickly. Devrutam we have done. Okay, now the Vishnu Kushalam, Anishtamishtam Mishram. So those who do not renounce the fruits of action experience three types of karma phalas. Anishta, Mishta, Mishra. Anishta, Ishta and Mishra. That means pleasant, unpleasant and mixed after death. Those who keep performing karma without renouncing the expectation of return reward, they face these three kind of karma phalas. Anishta, Ishta and Mishra. Pleasant, unpleasant and mixed after death. But true renouncers are free from these results. This is a sannyasi, one who is a true tyagi, who has not expected anything. He is free from whether it is karma phala is Anishta or Mishta or Mishra. So in this shloka, Shri Krishna explains the consequences of karma action and how they differ for those who are attached versus those who are practicing true renunciation, true tyag. We understood this much so far in this adhyaya that true tyagi is one who is detached from karma and karma phala. So Krishna Bhagavan says that actions produce three types of results, phala. Three types of phala are expected result due to your karma. One is ishta, that is pleasant. Success, happiness is ishta phala, isn't it? Anishta, failure, suffering is anishta. You don't want it, but it happens. Third is mishra, a combination of ishta and anishta. These results are experienced by those who are not detached from karma phala. Atyagina. Atyagina means those who have not renounced the karma phala. Atyagina. People who do not renounce attachment to the results of action, for them these three kind of karma phala, they prop up. This is the law of karma. Karma का सिद्धांत है ये. Every action produces result, whether you want it or you don't want it. If you sow a seed in the farm, something will come up, whether you want it to come or not. So karma phala is that only. Karma is like that only. You perform karma through your body, which is your kshetra, some karma phala is going to happen, whether it is ishta, mishta, anishta, mishra, whatever it is. The nature of result depends on the action and your intention, whether it will be ishta, anishta or mishra. People who act with desire and attachment, they become bound to these results. They must experience pleasure when results are favorable, pain when the results are unfavorable. This creates a cycle for us, which you don't realize. Action creates results, results creates reaction, and reaction creates new action. This cycle continues after death. Pratya is after death, leading to rebirth and continued bondage. You are expecting karma phala, na? ठीक है, expect करिए. If not in this life, I will give you the next life. Come back. I will give you next life. You don't want to get rid of this cycle of birth and death, no? You want to come back again and again to this cycle? Okay, most welcome. The karma that you have done, I will give three types of phala: ishta, anishta, and mishra. So Sri Krishna then contrasts this with true renouncers, sannyasina. He says That was the case, Ishta, Anishta, and Mishra of people who are attached to their karma phala. But sannyasi now. People who are not affected by these results of Ishta, Mishta, Anishta. Why? Because they have renounced the attachment itself. Whether it is Ishta, Anishta, or Mishra, they are not bothered. Give up the desire for results. When the desire itself is given up, whether the result is Ishta, Anishta, or Mishra, it hardly matters to them. They act with detachment. Since they are not attached to the fruits of result, they are not bound by them. No bondage. This is a profound teaching in Gita. Bondage is not caused by action itself, but by the attachment to the results. When attachment is removed, actions do not bind. Results do not disturb, and mind remains free. So can we decide today that whatever actions I take every day, I will not expect any return reward. I will help my neighbor. I will not expect even a thanks or a smile from him. I will help my family, my children, my parents, my wife, everyone, but I will not expect any thanks from them. I am doing it as my kartavya karma. Then we can remain bondage free. So this shloka explains the ultimate benefit of tyag, freedom from cycle of karma and its consequences. It shows that ordinary action leads to bondage and detached action leads to liberation. Action is same. It is the intention. If you are expecting something, get into bondage. If you don't expect anything from it, you lead to liberation. Choice is yours. In modern life, this teaching is highly relevant. Success brings happiness, but also fear of loss. Failure brings sadness and frustration. And mixed results, they create confusion. By practicing detachment, one remains balanced in all situations, whether success or failure. One is not emotionally dependent on outcome because he is given up. He experiences the inner freedom. Shri Krishna's teaching here is not about avoiding the results. You cannot avoid the result, as you cannot avoid the karma. Once the karma is performed, some result is bound to come. You can't say I will perform karma, but no karma phala should be resulting out of it. It cannot happen. Every karma invariably will create some karma phala. It is about not being bound by them. This leads to peace of mind, stability, and of course spiritual progress. So this shloka completes the explanation of tyag, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic tyag. Sattvic tyag gives the ultimate benefit. Two farmers, they sowed the identical crops. One constantly worried about the rainfall, about the prices, about the profits. The other worked sincerely and accepted whatever nature provided. Both harvested similar yields. Only one enjoyed peace of mind throughout the season. The lesson to be learned is anxiety comes from attachment to the results. Kya hoga, will I get this or not? The anxiety comes from that expectation of results, not from the work itself. Work is not creating that anxiety in you. The attachment to karma phala is creating that anxiety. So the key message of this shloka is those attached to the results experience the cycle of pleasure and pain, but true renouncер, true tyagi is free from all such bondages. Those who are attached, they will get either ishta phala, anishta phala, or mishra phala. But a tyagi is free from ishta, anishta, and mishra. No bondage for him because he has not expected any return reward. So this is a key principle of Gita. We'll take one more shloka and close the session for the day. पंचैतानि महाबाहो कारणानि निबोध मे संख्ये कृतान्ते प्रोक्तानि सिद्धये सर्वकर्मणाम्. Krishna tells Arjuna that there are 5 causes behind accomplishment of all actions, as explained in the philosophy of Sankhya Yoga. Pancha is 5. Etani means these. Mahabaho is again now called by Krishna Bhagavan to Arjuna. In the first sloka, Arjuna called Sri Krishna as Mahabaho. Now Krishna Bhagavan is calling Arjuna as Mahabaho. Karanani, causes. Nibodha, to understand. Me, from me. Sankhya, in the Sankhya philosophy. Krutante, in the conclusion, final teaching. Praktani, declared. Siddhaye, for the accomplishment. Sarva karmanam, of all karmas, of all actions. So God says, there are 5 causes behind accomplishment of all karmas, as explained in the philosophy of Sankhya. So in this sloka, Shri Krishna introduces a very, very, very important philosophical concept. The 5 causes, not 1, 2, 5. 5 causes, karanas, behind every karma, every action. This teaching is very crucial because it helps us remove the egoistic belief that I am alone, the doer. God says, no, boss, you're wrong. There are 5 factors responsible for you to perform karma. You alone can't do anything. Shri Krishna asks Arjuna to carefully understand, Nibodha, means understand carefully these 5 causes, which have been explained in Sankhya philosophy, a system of knowledge that analyzes reality in the logical and systematic way is Sankhya Yoga. The phrase Sarva Karmanam Siddhaye means that these 5 factors are responsible for the completion or success of all actions. No action happens due to a single cause. All 5 factors come into picture. This teaching is meant to correct a common human tendency wherein we take full credit for success. We blame ourselves or others entirely for the failure. God says, don't do this. There are 5 factors contributing to your success or your failure. You alone are not the doer. Shri Krishna explained that action is a complex process involving multiple factors. Now, why this understanding is important for us, Panchatani Mahabhava? Because ignorance of these causes leads to ego. We start believing that I am the only doer. We get pride in success, or we get guilt or frustration in failure. God says everything is wrong. By understanding these 5 causes, which are those 5 causes that will come in the next sloka, a person develops humility, namrata, clarity, and detachment. Shri Krishna is preparing Arjuna for a deeper insight into karma, action, and the doership, kartrutva, karta, and karma. In everyday life, we often say, I achieved this, I failed in this. But in reality, many factors contribute. Our body and abilities is one factor, external conditions is second factor, tools and resources that we use for the karma is third factor, our efforts is the fourth factor, and most important thing is our daiva, unforeseen factors. What is daiva that we'll discuss in the next session? So Krishna will list these 5 factors in the next sloka. This teaching also aligns with the modern understanding. A project's success, it depends on the team, not one individual, on the environment, on the resources, and on the timing, not on just one person. A student's success depends on the teaching, on the efforts that he has taken, on his health, and the circumstances, not on one person or one factor. Thus, Shri Krishna is encouraging a broader perspective to look at karma in this broader perspective that 5 factors contribute to performance of any karma. Spiritually, this knowledge reduces our ahankar, our ego. When we realize that we are not the sole doer, when we realize this, we are not the sole doer, our pride reduces, our humility increases, and attachment to results decreases. This leads to inner peace of mind. So this shloka is also connected to earlier teachings of Gita. Perform action, karma, renounce attachment, tyaga, and now understand the nature of action itself. It completes the framework of karma yoga. A CEO, he proudly declared, I built this company single-handedly. An employee, senior employee, he gently reminded him, the engineers created the product. The customers trusted us. Investors funded us. Suppliers delivered materials. Government built the roads. Your leadership mattered, but you were not alone. All these factors were important. The CEO realized his arrogance in saying that I am the sole door, I have created this company. So the lesson for us is our achievement. It depends on many visible and invisible factors. We should never take credit single-handedly for everything that is happening, or discredit either way. The key message of this shloka is all actions are accomplished through multiple causes. Understanding this removes the ego, ahankar, and it leads to wisdom, jnana. Then the karma happens because of 5 factors. Which are those 5 factors? That we'll discuss in the next session. Thank you so much for your patience. Now the floor is open for you to raise your questions.
That was an enlightening session, and Bhaiya dealt in detail about the different parts of in life, discussed in detail about different karmas, Rajasic, Tamasic, and Sattvic, with examples to make us understand the shlokas learned this week. We will be seeing more of this in coming sessions. Now it's time for question and answers. I request those who want to ask questions to raise their hands and switch on their cameras and wait for their turn. A reminder to everyone to please do some seva in Gita Pariwar as per your talent, and share the joining link for new L1 registration. Bhaiya, over to you for question and answers.
Feel free to ask your questions, even if it is a little late.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Bhaiya, I have 3-4 questions to ask. The first one being
Yes,
the
sure.
shlok number 7 uses the word niyatasya.
Niyatas means our niyat karma or kartavya karma, prescribed duty.
Prescribed
So
duty.
niyat
Now,
karma of a son is to do seva of his parents. This is niyat karma. So in whatever role we are performing in our day-to-day life, the responsibilities attached to that role are niyat karma.
okay, so it can differ from person to person. It will differ from person.
Yeah, it will differ from person to person.
Okay, shlok number 11 uses word dehebrata.
Dehabrata. Dehabrata means
Everybody
who are
is
carrying
embodied.
the body. All embodied people, all dehabrata. Those who are, they are
Are
dharan
there
kiya hai.
people? Are there people who are not embodied?
See, Dehavrata means there are no people who are not embodied, but this calls of the people because you see, when you have body, then only you perform karma, isn't it? There are souls moving in the different circles in the world. They cannot perform any karma. Only Dehavrata can perform karma. A person without body can perform karma. He cannot. So Dehavrata has been classified for those souls who have acquired body and are performing karma. So they are Dehavrata. Because karma is performed through your body, mind, and senses. So they are Dehavrata.
If charity gives satisfaction and peace of mind, is that expectation?
See, that when you do something good, you feel good in your heart. So that does not create a bondage if you feel good in your heart. But to totally depend on that happiness, that when I do good to people, they should praise me and I should get happiness in my mind, that expectation creates bondage. So do good, जैसे हिंदी में कहते हैं हम लोग, नेकी कर और दरिया में डाल. That is the meaning. Do your dana and forget about that you are done dana.
Okay. Okay, my last question is that is the concept of God created by humans to enforce moral code of conduct in the society?
It is not so. It is not only for creating moral conduct. It is a matter of fact. Whether we accept it as Krishna or whether Allah or whether Ishu or anything, there is one power in the world which is controlling this. Sun is rising every day at the given time. Rains are falling at the determined time. Moon is rising at the given time. Seas, oceans, rivers, rainfall, all this nature Who is controlling all this? Definitely no human beings are controlling this. So there is some superpower, whether you call it power or you call it God. Have faith in that power. That power is controlling the entire universe. And that is the principle of spirituality. Those who perform the devotion for, see, there are two ways of performing spirituality. One is Sagun Sakar and one is Nirgun Nirakar. Those who do not believe in Krishna, okay, let them not believe in Sagun Sakar. But they believe in Nirgun Nirakar. That some invisible power is taking care of this universe. Even that is spirituality. So when we are believing that there is some power, then that forces us to perform sattvic karma only. Because that power, it monitors everybody's karma. Whether it is visible or invisible, Nirgun Nirakar or Sagun Sakar is a matter of discussion. Whether you accept Krishna as God or not is up to you. We accept. Some people do not accept. Okay, it is for them. But they at least accept this, that there is some universal power controlling the affairs of this universe.
Now, how would an atheist look into Gita?
How?
How would an atheist?
Read the Gita.
How can he benefit from it? Or
See, without Shraddha, without faith, he cannot reap any benefit of spirituality. If he does not believe in God itself, he does not believe in superpower itself, then how can he expect anything? Shraddha is the best, is a minimum requirement of in spirituality. Ashraddhaya hotan dattan tapastaptam kritan chet ajatityate partha nacha tatpretya noya. This is the shloka in 5th adhyaya. Without Shraddha, even if you do any sattvic karma, yajna, dan, tap, or any other karma, if there is no Shraddha, it does not give you benefit in this life as well as in the life next to this.
Shraddha develops over a period of time as you start benefiting from it. Is that not true?
Very good question. Shraddha should be in the principle of teaching. Shraddha should be in the message of Bhagavad Gita, not on the benefits that you that accrue because of following the messages. So Shraddha is on the basic principle itself, that Krishna has said this in Gita, and this is a matter of fact. Whether I get good results or bad results, but this matter of fact, this matter of principle, I will never doubt about it. Right? God has said Panchayatani Mahabaho, which are those 5 factors. We'll see that, but this will prove beyond doubt that we alone are not the doer. There are 5 factors which are responsible for any karma to happen. Once we believe this firmly in our mind, we have created Shraddha in Krishna's message. So this is not a blind faith.
No, these concepts are fine. Whatever is being
Yeah.
said about the karma or maybe other things or how to
Yeah.
live a life and all that thing. But
Yeah.
does that necessarily relate to the fact that one has to get into the bhakti yoga?
It comes automatically. Once you
That
test
is
the
what,
principles
that
of
is what I
Gita in your
said, that you develop that bhakti over a period of time.
see, bhakti gets resulted when your Shraddha, you test your Shraddha, and your Shraddha, you see that you are getting the proper teachings in Gita, and that you experience in your day-to-day life. Then the bhakti automatically culminates. Your devotion
Right.
to the God, it comes automatically. When you start firmly believing in the teachings of God, bhakti is a byproduct of your Shraddha. When Shraddha happens, bhakti follows. Because no statement of God is faulty. Every statement is a factual statement made in Gita. And once you start having Shraddha in those statements, the bhakti automatically comes, develops.
Thank you
So
so
you
much.
start with your sakam karma and your Shraddha, everything. Ultimate, it is culminated into bhakti, devotion. That is the ultimate destination of spirituality. Whether you perform Jnana Yoga or Karma Yoga, Bhakti is a must. Bhakti is like a juice, juice in life. Jnana may be dry, Karma may be dry. Bhagavan likes the juice, rasa. That rasa comes from Bhakti. So Bhakti is natural culmination of your Jnana and your Karma.
Right. Thank you so much. We'll
Thank
continue discussing this in maybe the
you. Sure,
next
sure.
session.
Most welcome. Interesting
Thank
to
you.
discuss with you, Adarshji. Thank you so much.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri.
Satish ji, unmute kar ली. Please unmute yourself. Satish ji, you have to unmute yourself. Aarti Didi?
जी दीदी रिक्वेस्ट भेजा है उनको, मगर
अच्छा।
उनकी शायद ठीक से सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है।
Oh, accept कर सकते हैं भैया? Can you hear us? Satish ji, can you hear us?
Can I speak now?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes.
Jai Krishna.
Jai Shri
Sir, I want to know the difference between Shraddha and Bhakti. If you have a Shraddha continuously, Bhakti becomes byproduct or the vice versa.
The first comes is Shraddha, not Bhakti. Shraddha comes first.
Shraddha comes first.
Shraddha, as I said, when you have Shraddha in Bhagwan's teachings in Gita, and once you testify it, and then you see that every message of Gita is a matter of fact statement. It's not some say, or it's not a novel that God is making a statement like a story. He is making a statement based on philosophical facts, based on spiritual facts. When you test it a couple of times in your own life, the message of Gita, that develops your love for the God.
Yes.
That God has taught me the great principles of life. So that love for the God, it is called Bhakti.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think, So, okay, so no more questions, no?
Okay.
Okay. So, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Vikas Vaidya ji for clearing the doubts of Sadhak. On behalf of Geeta Pariwar and myself, I extend sincere thanks to the technical team consisting of Aarti Sharma Didi and Sandhya Didi ji, and all those who have been at the backstage for their relentless and efficient effort in making the session a great success. May I take this opportunity to thank all those who attended this session. Please do continue your Gita sadhana and attend these sessions to enrich your spiritual knowledge. Today, Learngeeta Panda Didi from Naupada, Odisha is going to recite Samapan Prarthana. Joined the Geeta Pariwar in July 2025, Didi is giving seva as sport trainer, tech and group coordinator. Let's invoke the blessings of Bhagavan Krishna and submit today's vibration at the lotus feet of Bhagavan. Please, Didi, please. Yeah.
जय श्री कृष्ण। योगेशं सच्चिदानन्दं वासुदेवं व्रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं जय श्री कृष्ण।
Thank you, Didi, for that soulful prayer. Now it's time for Hanuman Chalisa. I request each one of you to be present for Hanuman Chalisa. Didi, please.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारि बरनउँ रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र औ ध्वजा विराजय कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजय शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबेको आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबेको रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिंसा जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाँ ते कभी को बिद कही सके कहाँ ते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर पल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होतन आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपै तीनों लोक हाकते कापै भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवै महावीर जब नाम सुनावै नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै मन क्रम भजन ध्यान जो लावै सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावै सोई अमित जीवन फल पावै चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नो निधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावै जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावै अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटै मिटै सब पीरा जो सुमिरै हनुमत बल बीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़ हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय.
Thank you all for being there. Today is Ashadha Shukla Ekadashi. Best wishes for Ekadashi. May all be blessed by Bhagavan Vishnu on this auspicious day. May our week ahead be brighter and more beautiful. We shall see you back on another enlightening